Hi everyone, welcome you all to the second Applications Manager free training series of this year. Today we'll be discussing on multi-cloud infrastructure monitoring. Get into today's agenda. The first topic we'll be discussing on how to proactively monitor your AWS cloud applications. The second topic will be keep track the performance of your Azure application. The third topic will be track critical KPIs across your container orchestration platform. And the last topic will be how to pinpoint the performance bottlenecks in your cloud environment. In recent times, most of the enterprise organizations around the world have started adapting to cloud computing technology to provide a massive service offering. And we could see a rapid growth. Around 94% of enterprise use the cloud now. And the current market value is around $600 billion. And the estimated market value in 2025 is around $833 billion. What are all the challenges currently faced? So we are getting unexpected downtime, and the server gets keeps on crashing due to an issue, and the application gets slow, and we are unable to predict like what could be the issue, and we are wasting time on troubleshooting and optimizing those applications manually, and we are manually configuring those dependency in order to keep track that every services and the components are running fine in the application and in servers as well. Now we are going to see how you can monitor your cloud applications and containers with the help of Applications Manager. As you could see here, Applications Manager is collecting the information from the cloud application and the containers via the API. When we just talk about the API, yes, we are not using any agent, and Applications Manager is an agentless tool, as you might know. And via the metric aggregator, we are pulling the information from the various cloud application and the container based orchestration platform. We are using the API request, and we are using the APIs which are provided by the respective vendors in which we are planning to monitor. And once the information is pulled from the respective vendor, for example, if you just take Amazon, we are fetching it from the Amazon CloudWatch. So once the information is being fetched via the metric aggregator, we'll be just checking those information. So from the information which we pulled, so in that, if there is any issue on a particular instance, or if there is any high utilization found on the information while we are fetching that, so with the help of the fault management, will be showing those as an critical alert. So, and critical alert will be raised based on the information we are fetched when the utilization is high. And apart from that, all those information will be stored into the database for the reports and analytics purpose. So with the help of these reports, you can just verify the data in a daily basis or a weekly basis or on a monthly basis. So now I will just explain like what are all the cloud technologies currently we are supporting. So in Applications Manager, we are supporting Amazon Web Services, Microsoft Azure, Oracle Cloud, Microsoft 365, and Google Cloud. Let's get into the first topic, which we discussed on agenda. The first topic will be how to proactively monitor your cloud application. So when we just talk about the AWS cloud, so Applications Manager uses AWS SDK. With the help of this SDK, we will be pulling the information from various services which are hosted on the AWS. So as I mentioned earlier, so for the AWS, we are using the Amazon CloudWatch, which is provided by the AWS vendor. So from the CloudWatch only, will be pulling the information for all the various services. Now we are going to see like what are all the services that are monitored in AWS on Applications Manager. So when you just talk about the services, yes, we do cover most of the services which are hosted on the AWS. So each services we have categorized into the respective type. So when you just talk about the compute, we do monitor the EC2, Lambda, and EBS. And in containers, we are monitoring the ECS and the EKS. And in the database, we do monitor RDS and DynamoDB. And in load balancing, we are monitoring ELB. And we do monitor the S3 buckets for storage and SNS for the notification and SQS for the queue. And main thing here is like for the billing, for the accounting wise, we are monitoring the the billing service as well. Now, let me just take you to the Applications Manager UI and explain how to add an Amazon monitor. So when we just talk about adding the monitoring, so in the Applications Manager homepage, you can find an option called New Monitor. So when you just click on New Monitor in the drop down, you need to click on Add New Monitor. So once you just clicked on this Add New Monitor, you can view all the list of monitor types we are currently supporting. So as you might know, like Applications Manager is capable of monitoring more than 150 plus different monitor types. And we are just categorized based on the respective types here. So when you just click on this cloud apps, here you can view the list of the monitor types we are supported under the cloud applications. So now we are going to add AWS monitor. So when you just click on this AWS monitor, you can view like what are all the prerequisites that you need to follow. Because when you just click on this add new monitor in the right hand side as well, we have listed like what are all the key prerequisites you need to follow. Because as I mentioned, like, since we are using the API method, we need the consent privilege to fetch all those information from the AWS environment. So here you need to first you need to just give the display name, and by default it will list you all the Amazon services that are currently we are supported. And in case if you don't want to monitor the Lambda on the AWS environment, then you can just remove those services. And in case if you want to add it again, you can just add the respective services which you want to monitor. So once you just selected all these services, you need to provide the access key ID and the secret key ID. With the help of this only, it will try to establish the connection towards this AWS environment. And once you just given these two information, the next thing is like you need to select the account type. Because as you might know, like when you just talk about the AWS account type, it's based on a region wise. So based on the region, whether it is a government cloud or the AWS China, or in case it's a global account. So based on that, you can just select those account type. And once the account type is selected, you can select the regions here. Like in like if your AWS environment in a different regions and you want to discover monitor a region from for example, from the USA region, so you can just select those regions manually here. And once you just given the region here, you can select the three options here. Either if you want to discover and monitor all the child monitors. So child monitors are nothing but the list of services which are hosted here. If you just take the EC2, there will be multiple EC2 instances which is running on a particular AWS. So each EC2 instance is called as a child monitors when it comes to the adding a monitor. So you can just select, discover and add child monitors here. So once you just selected this, the next option is advanced settings. So in this advanced settings, you can see an action like option called action on deleted resources. So when an EC2 instance is removed from the respective AWS environment, and for those, if a particular resource is removed, so whether you want to continue alerting for the resource, or in case if you want to stop alerting, or you want to unmanage those resources which are removed on the AWS environment, or in case if resources removed on the AWS environment and the same needs to be removed from the applications manager from the monitoring as well, you can just use this last option, delete resource. So once you just selected this, the next option is like regex to filter EC2 instance. So if you have like several EC2 instances and you want to monitor only as a few EC2 instances that are used on your production environment. So in that case, you can just use this regex format to just filter those respective EC2 instance alone for the monitoring. And in case, for example, currently there are 10 EC2 currently discovered, and if you want to stop the discovery uh, in the future, then you can just use this option, stop discovery, and you can just monitor, like you can just add the services which you want to stop for discovery. So once you just given, you will be adding a monitor. Okay, once the monitor is added, it will be added to the existing monitors along with the existing monitor, the Amazon monitor as well will be added here. So once this AWS monitor is added, you can just go to that particular monitor, and in the monitor information page, you can view the list of information which you have provided while adding the monitor. So once this is fine, then go to the overview tab. The overview tab will be it will be showing the overall values here. So since I'm just discovered all the services here under the compute resources, it will show me the like what are the current total EC2 instance that are currently running, and the load balancer information. And when it comes to the storage resource, it will just show me the like the number of S3 buckets that are currently deployed. And in the database resource, it will be showing it shows me that how many RDS instances are currently running, and along with the DynamoDB information as well. So same like that for the application and the containers, it will show me the overall count here. So in the overview page, you can view the overall value. And in case if you want to dig deeper into the each and every services here, you can just go to the next tab. So in the next tab, the compute tab, you can view the EC2 instance, Lambda, and the EBL. So here I want to just go to this EC2 instance and check the metrics that are currently being monitored. Just click on the particular EC2 instance here. And here in the OS level metrics, it will show me the available memory usage, the committed bytes, and the disk utilization along with the each and individual drive here. So you can just monitor these individual disks as a same like the server monitoring. With the help of this configure alarm icon, you can just configure the alarm. And if a particular disk utilization goes higher, you'll be getting an alert directly from the respective monitor from the respective EC2 level. And in the configuration page, you can view the current configuration that have been set for this EC2 instance. So same like the EC2 instance, you can just go to the containers, and in the containers as well, you can just click on the ECS cluster and view the cluster performance as well. So in the cluster performance, you can monitor the CPU. So what is the CPU reservation percentage, utilization percentage, and the same for the memory as well. So it will give the real-time value. So these information will be pulled every 5 minutes. So based on the polling interval we have set for this monitor, and you can monitor all these information. And what are all the values you're seeing here? For example, memory reserved or memory utilized, or the disk IO throughput. For all these informations, you can generate the report. And if you want to check the list of services that are running inside this ECS service, you can monitor all these services as well. So if the particular service is getting down, or if the particular service is getting critical due to the memory utilization or due to this over CPU utilized. So for every monitors which you are seeing in this particular page can be, you can set an alarm, and you can just escalate to the higher level in case if a particular service is getting down and it is down for more than 1 hour. So based on the conditions, you can escalate the alarms as well. So same like that, you can monitor the SNS as well. So when it comes to the SNS service, you can check all the values here. Like for example, SNS is for the notification services. And if like you want to check how many notifications are getting delivered and how many notifications are getting failed. So you can view all those information in the SNS usage. And in case if you want to split and see for the region wise, so those also will be captured here. So in case if the majority of the notification getting failed on a particular region, so you can just monitor those notification delivered status for each and every regions as well. And you can also monitor the topic wise. So because this SNS is like an automated notification service. So since if a particular topic is getting failed, or if it is removed on a particular SNS, and if you want to still you want to get notified, you can just view all the topics which are added on the SNS service here. And in the building, so this is the major service that we need to focus on, because like for each and every components that we are using on the cloud is an cost efficiently. We need to just make sure we are not crossing the monthly allocated cost. So here you can view the current month forecast. Okay, and you can view the date of expenditure, when the particular in which particular date, or in which particular time the cost is getting higher. So you can, with the help of these billing information, you can plan and allocate the resource accordingly. So for each and every services, you can view the cost usage here. So when a particular service is using more cost, so you can just trigger an alarm. You can just set a baseline for this, so that you'll not cross the expected cost value which you are allocated for each and every services in the AWS. Let me take you to the next topic of the today's presentation. So the next topic we will be discussing on how to keep track of the performance of your Azure application. When we just talk about the Azure application, so currently we are providing the service for the virtual machine monitoring, Azure Service Bus, SQL database, storage accounts, and Kubernetes services. Again, for the Azure as well, we are using an API method. And for virtual machine, we'll be using API along with the PowerShell as well, because we'll be fetching all the OS level metrics via the PowerShell uh, mode of monitoring only. And for the SQL database as well, we'll be using the API, and we are also using the JDBC connectivity to fetch all the query information. And for the Kubernetes, we'll be using the API and the kubectl as well. So these kubectl is a command which will be used for the Kubernetes monitoring to fetch the information. So those result as well will be fetched via the API. Let me show those information here. So same like the Amazon AWS monitoring. So we'll be adding a monitors to the add monitor option. Again, from the cloud application, click on Microsoft Azure. So once you just click here, add Microsoft Azure monitor. In this, you need to give the subscription ID, and based on the account type, and you need to select the services as well. Whether you want to monitor all the service, or in order to monitor specific service which you want to monitor, you can just select those services in this select box. And in the discovery mode, you can either discover through the AD application and the principal mode of discovery mode, or using the OAuth discovery mode. So once you just selected these mode, you'll be adding a monitor. So once you just added the Azure monitor, it will discover all the services as well. So it will be added as a Microsoft Azure. So when you just go into the Microsoft Azure, so you can, in the overview page, you can view like like the complete resource, the number of uh, the total number of VMs which are currently running on the on the Azure environment, and then the number of SQL database that has been hosted, and you can view the the namespace count for the Azure bus, and also you can view the Kubernetes service cluster count. So in the overview page, you'll be getting all the overall values that are currently uh, um, allocated. And if you just go to the virtual machine, so it will just show the current availability along with the IP address and the location. So if a particular virtual machine is down, those status will be automatically reflected in this particular virtual machine page. In case if you want to view all the metrics that have been monitored on the virtual machine, so you can just click on this respective virtual machine. So it will take you to the virtual machine page, and here you can view the CPU utilization value and the memory utilization, whether the available bytes and the committed bytes as well, and the disk as well. You can monitor the disk usage and the complete disk throughput along with the each and every drives. And so same like the server monitoring, you can just use this configure alarm icon to configure the alarms for the disk used percentage or for the free percentage. So based on that, before it gets full, you'll be get notified. And also you can just monitor the network traffic on the virtual machine. So in case if it is getting high, you can monitor. And we are also providing the monitoring for the network interface. So if a particular interface is getting down, or if it is getting over output utilization, or if you're getting more input traffic, so based on that as well, you'll be getting notified. And in the threads and process, you can view the number of current threads and the process stats here. So and for if a process count is huge on a particular VM, you'll also get notified. And in the service one, you can just monitor the services which are running on your virtual machine. So if a particular service is getting down, or in case if you want to auto start those services, yes, that is also feasible. I will just explain those auto restart of the services in the upcoming slide. So with the help of these service as well, you can either restart or start automatically when if there is an issue occurring on a particular virtual machine. And when it comes to the Azure SQL databases, so as I mentioned, so for the SQL databases, we are using the API along with the JDBC connection. So why we are using the JDBC connection is like, so we are pulling the complete information of a query which is hampering the performance of the particular SQL. So when I just talk about the queries, yes, like most of the performance issue on the database could uh, could be because of the long running queries. So when you just click on the top queries by CPU, it will list down all the queries which are uh, uh, running in the particular SQL for a longer time. So it will hamper the CPU usage. It is taking the more utilization of the CPU. So with the help of this, you can easily identify. So we are not giving a hint. We are just giving a complete query which is hampering, and you can just take these queries to your database team, and you can just optimize those queries to avoid any performance issue on the particular SQL instance. So same like the top queries by CPU, we are also showing the top slow running queries. So in the top slow running queries as well, we'll just show the complete the query ID and the execution time. And in case if you want to view the most blocked queries, yes, that is also feasible here. You can view all the queries that are blocking that are blocked currently, and you can configure the alarm for these queries. So more than the more than the expected execution time, if it is crossing the execution time, so for that as well, you can trigger an alert so that you can just avoid the performance issue on the respective database. And in the configuration tab, we'll be showing the complete information of the particular database when it is created, and whether the particular state is online or offline, or where the particular database is located. So we just show the complete information of those database here. And in Azure Load Balancer as well, we'll be just showing the complete information on that particular usage of those load balancer. So we'll be just showing the front end and the back end statistics. So based on this, like if the you can just measure the status of those health of each and every probe, and whether the connection is successful or not for each and every connection, how long it is taking. So you can just monitor those stats for both front end and the back end IP address. So in case if there like if there is any issue occurring from switching from one to another, and with the help of these information, you can easily predict and fix that. So based on the connection time and the bytes it is taking for changing switcher from one probe to another, so you can just verify those information with the help of these stats, and it will also show the current front top 5 front end IPs that are currently utilized and the back end IPs as well. And in the configuration page, you can view the balancer configuration. Like you can view the IP address which are configured for the front end, inbound and outbound, whether it is a provision state as well, you can monitor whether it is succeed or it is failed. So with the help of these as well, you can just check and verify the connect the IP's current connections here. Let me take you to the next topic of today's session. So the next topic we'll be discussing is regarding the how to track critical KPIs across your container orchestration platforms. So when we just talk about the container orchestration platform, so in Applications Manager, we are supporting Docker, Kubernetes, and OpenShift. Why container monitoring is important? So container platform is like rapidly growing because it can give a high scalability whenever you are deploying an application. So you no need to think about the resource you are allocating, and you can just make sure like the availability and the performance of those applications which you are boarding into the container platform, it will not get affected, and you can just optimize the cost, and you can just like identify and fix the issue quickly when it becomes the container. And the same can be monitored with the help of the applications manager. And how we are monitoring these KPIs in our Kubernetes. So when we just talk about the Kubernetes, yes, previously we are discussed regarding the Amazon Kubernetes services, but this is an standalone one. So uh, in a particular host, if you are just deployed the Kubernetes, you can just monitor as a separate monitor here. And how the applications manager is fetching the information from the containers. So for the Kubernetes, we are using the kubectl command, and with the help of those command only, first we'll be making an SSH connection towards the target host, and we'll be executing the kubectl command for fetching the nodes, pods, cluster, and other informations from the respective Kubernetes service. So not only for the Kubernetes, for the OpenShift as well, we are using the OpenCTL command along with the REST APIs. So go to the add new monitor page. So here it will be the container platforms will be available under the virtualization. So here you can view the Docker, OpenShift, and the Kubernetes. So for adding a Kubernetes, so you need to just give a display name and the host address. So as I mentioned, first we'll be establishing the SSH connection. So while establishing the SSH connection, either you can use the SSH credentials, or else you can just use the key-based authentication for establishing the connection. So once you just given the username and the key or the credentials, by default it will be in SSH will be running on 22 port, and you can just give the specific namespace which you want to monitor. So as you might know, like based on the namespace only, like the ports and the nodes are categorized. So in case if you want to monitor a particular namespace and its ports and the nodes, you can just add those namespace name here, so that only those namespace ports and nodes will be monitored under this Kubernetes. So once you just given these details, it will be there in your like added under the monitors information. So once you just been to the Kubernetes page, it will just show the complete overview here. So in the overview page itself, you can view the list of namespace and the availability as well. If a particular namespace is getting down, then the entire content, like the pods which is hosted under that will get affected. So by default, this namespace will be monitored. So if it is inactive, alert will be raised for the same. And in the node page, you can view the node statistics and the node utilization, like top 5 nodes by the based on the memory, and top 5 nodes based on the CPU utilization. So with the help of this information, you can also view the node pod details here, like what is the pod usage, and you can also view the node details as well here, like what is the OS image, like what is the current architecture deployed on this particular node, and what is the kernel version. So you can view all those information in this node page. So when you just go to the pods, in the pods page as well, it will list all the pods which is allocated to the respective namespace, and you can view the pod type and the pod created time as well, start and end time. So along with that, you can view and monitor the pod status. So currently, few pods are in running state, few are in pending state. So whenever if the particular state is changed from running to pending, or if it is stopped state, you need to get notified. For that as well, we have just given the configure alarm action here. So when you just configure these actions, so whenever a pod state is getting changed, you'll be getting alerted. And in some cases, if a particular pod is removed from the Kubernetes environment, so automatically applications manager will wait for two certain polls. And after the two polls, if it is unable to discover those pods, so those pods will be automatically removed from the applications manager from monitoring. And if you just scroll down, you can view the top 10 pods based on the memories and the CPU details as well. So based on the pod, like how many containers are currently utilized inside the pod, and you can just monitor the CPU limit here as well. And here you can also monitor the services which are hosted under it. In case uh, if the new port is added under this particular services, so that will also automatically updated. And you can also check these information, and you can also monitor the deployment details here. So if the particular deployment is getting down, or if the replica count uh, is zero, so whenever if the particular pod is deployed and the replica is not getting updated, so those information also can be monitored here. So this is for the Kubernetes. So when we just, like as I mentioned, for the Kubernetes, we use the kubectl command. So now let me explain regarding the OpenShift. So for the OpenShift, we are using the OpenCTL command. So along with it, we are also using the REST API. Show you here. So why we are using REST API for the OpenShift? So since like for the same like the Kubernetes, we'll be using the SSH connection first, and we'll be fetching the information. So along with it, so what will happen? So when there is a huge amount of data which is deployed on your OpenShift, and like within a particular time period or within the timeout value, if applications manager unable to fetch those information, during that time we'll be getting a timeout error. To just avoid those situations, you can just use this option like collect major metrics via the REST API. So it will use the WebSocket port for the REST API connectivity, and it will fetch the other informations apart from the OpenCTL command result. It will use this REST API to fetch the complete information from the respective OpenShift monitor. So along with it, we have an option here called monitor specific project. So same like the Kubernetes, instead of namespace here, the project names will be given for each and every pods. So based on the, like in case if you want to discover only few projects under the OpenShift, so you can just either include or exclude. So if you just leave exclude, so apart from those project names, other projects will get discovered for the monitoring. So here, same like the other container which I explained for the Kubernetes, we are monitoring the node and pod details here. And here, in the container as well, we are monitoring the top 5 containers by based on the restart, and also it will show the all the container details and the container status as well. And in the services, so you can monitor the list of services which are currently running, and based on the cluster IP and the cluster ports. And in the OpenShift, you can also monitor the replication. So you can just monitor the replication control details and the replication set details. So if a particular replica is getting failed, if it is not running, so you can just configure the alert for the same. And apart from the replica, so with the help of the REST APIs only, we are fetching these information. So we are fetching the job informations as well. So what are the current jobs which is running? Whether or what is the job time and how long the job uh, taken, like the job time taken to get complete. So these information will be fetched from the OpenShift via the API. And in the persistent volume claims as well, you can view the project name, and what is the number of requests, and the persistent capacity as well can be viewed under this persistent volume claims. So just a reminder, in case if you have any doubts or clarifications, please feel free to post it in the chat. Our team will help you. So the next topic we are going to discuss is regarding the how to pinpoint the performance bottlenecks in your cloud environment. So first and foremost, like as I explained in the AWS environment regarding the billing, so we need to just make sure that we are tracking the cloud cost periodically, because it should not exceeded the limit which we are allocating for every month or a weekly basis. So you need to get notified when overspending occurs, and you need to optimize the cloud cost. So whenever you're just creating new EC2 instance and allocating the resources, so everything will comes under this uh, cloud cost. So we need to just make sure like we are like you're just configuring the notification services for these cloud costs, so that like you'll not much utilizing the resource accordingly. And the next thing is like regarding automate action and receive timely alerts. You can just configure the email action or SMS action manually so that if a particular service is getting down or the particular virtual machine is getting down, you'll be getting alerting. You'll be getting alert from the applications manager. So that is a manual work. How this particular automate actions will work. Let's take an example. So ABC is a bank, so they're scheduling the maintenance from midnight Saturday to the Sunday early morning. So during this particular time period, so what happening? So all the virtual machines or all the EC2 instances which are hosted under the AWS will be in the maintenance mode, which is created by your admin team. So during this particular time period, you need to make sure like these EC2 instances should not send a false alert so that like once this particular schedule maintenance getting completed, only then you need to get an alert. So like for this information, for this particular activity, like in applications manager, you can use the downtime scheduler. So with the help of the downtime scheduler, you can just add or you can just schedule the those EC2 instances prior to the scheduled time so that these monitors will be in the scheduled maintenance mode. It will not trigger any false alert. And also you can just monitor those EC2 instance as well during the scheduled maintenance. And the next thing, so now we are just added for the scheduled maintenance. Now for example, if there is an issue happening on a particular EC2 instance, so the CPU utilization keeps on spiking for each and every minute, and if you are unable to predict that, so for example, if the CPU is constantly for more than 1 hour, so during that time, what you can do, you can just use this automate action. You can just write a script or you can just configure an action called cloud action. So with the help of the cloud action, you can start or restart or stop the EC2 instance which is causing the issue. So, like since that particular EC2 instance is no longer needed and it is giving unnecessary alerts. So during those scenarios, you can just use this automate action so that instead of manually restarting the which like that particular instance, it will be automatically restarted. How to avoid this service outage? So as you might know, like with the help of the threshold profile, you can just manually configure the threshold. And apart from the threshold profile, we have an other profiles called anomaly profile and the adaptive profile. So when we just talk about the threshold profile, so we need to set up particular value for critical, warning, and clear. So for critical, so whenever my CPU is utilizing more than 95 percentage, during that time I want a critical alert. So you can just use these functionality for a threshold profile. So when it comes to the adaptive and anomaly profile, so how it will helps you here is like, so instead of manually allocating the particular value, you can just compare the current data with the previous week data or the last month or the specific week. So it will the current value will be compared with the historical data, and based on that, if the CPU usage is high, if it is greater than 5% when we are comparing with the previous value. So based on those particular values, you'll be getting alert from the applications manager. And these profiles can be set for the numeric or the string attributes as well. And as I mentioned previously, like we have an automation action called the cloud action. With the help of these, you can start, stop, or restart the EC2 instances directly from the applications manager. And the next thing is like whenever there is an issue in an application, it's hard to find the exact trace. So when it comes to the application, yes, there will be several transactions that have been performed. So for to just keenly monitor the complete transaction and the complete application. So if you have just attended our second session on this particular training series. So we have just explained regarding the APM insight. So this particular APM insight, it is a live transaction monitoring. It will monitor all the transaction. If there is a issue in a particular transaction, it will just show the complete functionality. Let me just quickly show that in the UI. So the first topic which I explained here is like the actions. So action is nothing but the notification method. So either you can notify it via the email action, SMS action, and in case if you're having any script, so with the help of the execute program action, you can just write your own script so that if a particular disk is using high usage, and you want to just moving a file from one drive to another, with the help of this script, and you can just host that particular script under the execute program action. And if you just associate to that particular disk utilization monitoring, so automatically when a disk usage is high, this execute program will be automatically executed, and the data will be moved from one drive to another. And apart from that, we do have the ticketing action as well. So we are supporting service now for the ticketing, and also we are uh, supporting for the managing in service desk plus. So we can use these two ticketing tool option. And in the cloud action only, uh, let me just go to the cloud action. In the cloud action only, we are just supporting for the respective types. So in case if you want to start or restart or stop the Azure or the AWS VMs. So when you talk about the Amazon, so it's a EC2. So if you want to restart the particular EC2 instance whenever a particular service is getting down, or if a particular CPU is getting high, so you can just select those EC2 instance here, and you can just create this action. So while just creating action, in case if you want to know whether the particular EC2 is restarted or started during a particular time of issue, so for that, you can just use this option notify after action executes. So whenever this particular VM is restarted, you'll be getting notified that this particular VM is restarted for this issue. And in case like these kind of actions will be helpful during your business hour or for the outside business hour. So when it is a weekend, and like in order to just reduce your manual work, so you can just set this for the outside business hour, so that whenever CPU is high, the particular service or the EC2 will get automatically restarted, so that you no need to just log into that virtual machine and check those issues. And along with in this action, we have an action for the container platform as well. So you can also start or restart the containers in case of any issues. So if a particular CPU is high on a particular container, or for example, if a particular replica is getting down, or if a particular pod is consuming more memory usage, so during that time, you can just use this container action to just restart that container and to avoid that bottlenecks. And same like that, you can get notified whenever this particular action is executed. And in case if you are having any other third party ticketing tool, or in case if you are integrating with third party sites for the like for an alarm, so you can just use this webhook REST API action, so that with the help of this, the respective alarm will be sent to the respective third party tool whenever an issue is happening. So this is for the automate actions. So when like I just explained regarding the downtime scheduler. So in the downtime scheduler, like whenever if there is a scheduled and a planned maintenance in your environment, you can just use this downtime scheduler option here. It will be under the settings tab. So it will be under the settings. Under the settings, under discovery and data collection, you can view this option downtime scheduler. So whenever you're just adding a new scheduler, in the recent versions of Applications Manager, we have just introduced suppress monitoring, suppress alarm. So by default, it is will be in the suppress monitoring. When you just click on the suppress monitoring, what it will do here is like, so there are two VMs for which you are creating this downtime scheduler. So during the particular scheduled downtime, okay, from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. So during this 10 a.m. to 12 p.m., this particular two VMs will be marked as in scheduled maintenance. So during this scheduled maintenance between these 2 hours, when you just use this option like suppress monitoring, in the particular time period, these two VMs will not get monitored. So the no data will get collected as well. So in that particular time period, if you generate the report, it will just show that it is in a scheduled maintenance. In some scenarios, uh, between these 2 hours downtime, and if a team is doing a certain activity only for 10 minutes, like for example, a patching activity. So during this patching activity, the restart will be taken place for only 5 minutes, but your team has taken a downtime of 2 hours. So during these scenarios, you want to collect the data, but you don't want to send an alarm during the restart. So for that, you can just use this option suppress alarm. Once you just give the suppress alarm, when you enable the suppress alarm inside the downtime scheduler, all the data will be collected during the scheduled maintenance as well, but the alarm will not get triggered. So even if like once the patching activity is getting completed in between the downtime scheduled inside that scheduled maintenance, and you like once they're restarting, you don't want to get an alert, so you can just use this suppress alarm action. And this particular downtime schedule can be scheduled for a daily basis or on a weekly basis. So in every monthly as well, if a team is doing a reboot activity or they're doing a patching activity, you can just select the respective months here on which they are performing, and you can just select the time as well. And here you can just select the frequency and along with the date and time here. So once you just given and add those monitors, these monitors will be added under this scheduled maintenance. Okay, and it will be suppress only the alarms. The data collection will be happening during the scheduled maintenance. Only it will suppress the alarms. With the help of these, you can just avoid unnecessary false alerts in case if it is a planned activity. Okay, and the next thing I explained is regarding here is like the APM insight. So already if you have attended our second uh, session on this series, you can identify that. So with the help of this APM insight, you can easily drill down to each and every transaction and find where the issue occurs. So instead of like manually putting effort to just identify in which particular particular function or that particular query is causing the issue, so with the help of this APM insight, you can easily identify where the issue occurs. So you can just drill down to each and every transaction and find like in which particular function is taking more time. So with the help of these, you can just monitor the complete application along with the service map. So when it comes to the service map, if a particular component is getting failed on application, it will directly notified here. So you no need to check each and every component, because when you just talk about the component, there will be several uh, components involved. For application, it could be a database server, it could be a web server, it could be an third party like a REST API server. Like, so there will be several services or the components which is involved. So with the help of this service map, you can easily identify it here. So in case if you need any information or if you have any clarification, just post it in the chat. Our team will help you again. And when it comes to the dependency, so like you can just create your own dependency here. So with the help of the monitor group, okay, so you can just create any number of monitor group as per your requirement. And in case if you just want to create a separate monitor for the cloud instances, you can just create a group and add a monitor here. So once you just added the monitor, what it will do, it will just monitor the complete uh, group, and you can also create a dependency view here. So dependency view is nothing but like it will just give an the complete view, like what are the monitors are currently up or down, and along with the complete status here. So same like the ADDM. So the ADDM will discover and create the map automatically. In case if you want to create a view by for yourself, so you can just create the monitor group, and with the help of this business view, you can easily identify which particular services are getting down, and you can just create any number of subgroup within the particular monitor group, so that those information will be easily identified here, like which particular component is getting failed in a particular environment. So with the creating the monitor group, we can just achieve this, and also we have an integration with Prometheus as well. Uh, so currently, with the help of the Prometheus, you can import the Tomcat servers which are hosted under it. So we are working on a feature to just import all the Docker-based containers. So in case if you're hosted the Dockers in the Prometheus environment, so once you just integrate this Prometheus with the Applications Manager, in future those Dockers will be automatically uh, imported into the Applications Manager. So you no need to add those Docker instance manual to Applications Manager. If you have integrated this Prometheus with this, it will give you all those information. Let's have a quick recap of today's session. Today we have discussed regarding the how to proactively monitor your AWS cloud application. The second topic we have discussed regarding the performance of your Azure application. The third topic we have discussed regarding the container orchestration platform, where we have discussed regarding the Kubernetes OpenShift. And in the last topic, we have discussed regarding how to pinpoint the performance bottlenecks in a cloud environment. So here we have discussed regarding the automate actions and the threshold profiles, and also regarding the cloud cost efficiency. how we can just avoid those scenarios. So with the hope uh, you are just like have some knowledge regarding the cloud monitoring and applications manager.